Good evening, members of Spiritual Cryptid Encounters. I'm just going to send a couple of invites out before I start this live to see who would like to join. Yes, I wish it would be easier for me to be able to send some invites out. I guess what I need to start doing is before I do a live, just put it out there for a day ahead of time. So like that people know that I'm going to do a live. But this is just out of a quick live. I did a quick live earlier for about 10 minutes. I had doing Sister Joanne, and I decided to do another live right now, just to talk, talk about some stories of Elms Grove. I don't know, Joanne, if you've seen some of the postings that I posted of certain pictures from that area of back in the day when I used to live in Elms Grove. I have been debunking a video for a while now, and I put part of that video where it's like around, I think 11 seconds, 13 seconds long, where I'm walking in the woods in the path, and right behind me, you can see something behind me in the woods, and it's changing color eyes. What I witnessed in the video, whatever it is, it went from color red eyes to yellow eyes and to white eyes several times. At first it had the red eyes, and then as the video went on, you could see it turn yellow real fast, and then you couldn't see nothing. And towards the end, you could see it where it turns white. So I placed the video out there as evidence of the activity, the spiritual activity that happens there in Elms Grove, what I was encountering when I lived there. I lived there from 2002 all the way to about 2015, 2016, before I left, before I moved. But there was a lot of activity there, and that's what I wanted to talk about this evening, is the activity that was happening there. I had a lot of other videos where I could have gotten more evidence out of those videos, but when people see you as a threat, for especially the angle that I was bringing this, where I'm trying to say that these beings, that they're either demonic or disembodied Nephilim, that they have the capabilities of appearing and disappearing at will, or changing forms at will. A lot of people from that didn't like that idea or that perspective, targeted me last year, and my account had gotten permanently deleted, in which a lot of my old videos that I had a lot of documentary on them, because that's why I initially created my site, had gotten permanently deleted from Facebook. But luckily I had already downloaded most of my pictures. It's just those videos got lost, but that would be no problem. Me going back to that area and be able to get more footage, because I know that that it is going to show itself to me just like it would show itself to me before, as I'm spiritually gifted in that way, that I will be able to get more footage. But in saying that, I wanted to talk about some of the stories from there in Elms Grove. I got a story where it was Easter time. My son had gotten I got them two colored baby chicks for Easter. So we kept them at the house, and they started growing and growing, and they became two young roosters. There were two little roosters. They're already pretty big, and they were inside my home, and I didn't want to get in trouble with the park. So one day I had a little cage. I had a cage, and I told my son we need to take them out there and put them by a tree. Not knowing that there's critters out there that can get a hold of them. So we took them out there, and I said we can come back tomorrow, and and see what feed them or whatever. But when we went back, they were not there no more. That something had killed them. But what was weird about it is whatever killed the baby chicks had put them on a stone, and it had cut their heads off of the roosters. And you could see the heads still on some rocks. When I took in the cage there, I make sure it was a big tree. There was nothing underneath the tree, just because it's as a big old shade tree, and it was in a different section of Elms Grove than the outskirts of Elms Grove, and that's how I found the roosters that were dead. So I was trying to figure out how they died and stuff like that. So what I noticed when we found them was that underneath that tree there was other trees that had grown underneath it, and they were like around 8 to 9 foot tall trees. They were thin, and I was like, "There's no way these trees are going to grow this fast within a day." So spiritually, I started thinking, well, what could have caused a growth of a tree to grow so fast underneath a tree that has shade? Normally you need sunlight for a tree to grow. Well, there was trees, I would say there was like 12 of them that grew in that area where my roosters had gotten killed by something that had cut their heads off. So I'm looking at these trees, and I'm saying to myself, there's no way. So I kept my son outside I told him to stay out there in the open field, because I didn't want him to see the dead roosters. He was like, at that time, I guess, I would say, let me see, he's already like 8 or 9 years old, maybe 10, possibly 10 or 11, somewhere around there. So I told him to stay out there. So the first thing, I normally would carry this backpack, and inside the backpack I had my machetes just to cut like high grass if I need to go make a path. So I grabbed my machetes, and I seen those trees that there's no way in the world that they're going to grow that fast in one day when there's nothing there, not even a little tree coming out of the ground, and there's that many trees there. They were like all over the place, and they're like, there's no way. It was empty. There was nothing there. So what I did is I grabbed my machetes, and I started cutting each of those trees that had grown out of nowhere. And I noticed one thing. The first one that I cut of those trees that grew out of nowhere, to me, what I seen was something red come out of it, which seemed like blood, right? And I chopped it down. So then I went to the other one, and I started hitting them, breaking it, and the same thing, something red would come out of it. So it was like, I'd say like 12, 14 or 15 trees that day that came out of nowhere that I cut down, because I felt that I could feel something wasn't right. Like, something, for them to appear out of nowhere that way, that it had to be something else. So I knocked out all 14 trees, and every single tree, which were They were thin because, and they were pretty tall, like 9 foot, 10 foot. Some of them were 11 foot, 12 foot. Every of those trees I chopped down and I cut them out of the ground. I destroyed those trees. And I'm just sharing the story that there was on my machete, that I can remember there was a taint that looked like blood on my machete after cutting those trees out of this big tree. And the thing is that my chickens, the roosters that I had gotten, you could say, killed or maybe like a form of sacrifice, because I found them with their heads cut off. So I destroyed those trees and there was blood. Blood was coming out of the break of the trees. So that's when I started looking into the area more, how should I say, more suspicious. Like, it was weird how when I cut them, the blood came out of these trees. So I was thinking that it's a possibility because of what I seen when I went back to Elms Grove. When I took in the two people, the married couple there, that when we were going to leave, that you pull out some Palo Santo, and I could see something picking behind the tree, and you could see red on his face. Then I'm thinking that maybe this, should I say, beings, spirits, or whatever elementals, or whatever it is, that they use trees to I guess form themselves out of trees, and that's why that I would see the activity when they're going in and out of trees at the park. They have those capabilities, which would be like more like, say when natives will pass away, that they would bury a tree. They would bury a baby tree as a grave marker. So it's a possibility that a lot of this activity that's happened there had to do with something of that nature. That the land itself, you could say, is cursed, because maybe, not that it's cursed, but it's native land, or should I say, a gravesite, in which that's why there's so much paranormal activity that happens there. Like I said, look into the video, and when I seen that video, I was like, man, that looks like, you could see a silhouette, but then you can see the eyes changing. I wish I had the capability, and I'm going to try to find a way to lower down the footage even slower, so I can get a closer look or a close up. But you can see where it's going from red eyes, and there's like a flash, and then it turns to red eyes, and then from the red eyes, it's like you don't see no more. I mean, yellow eyes. Then from the yellow eyes, you can see the white eyes. So I'm thinking more of it's got to be something native, especially the one I seen picking up behind the tree had red on his face. I know natives used to wear, color their faces with like berries, berries and stuff like that. They would use things to make a face paint in some kind of way, but that's what I'm leaning towards right now. But I do plan to make a trip there one day with the right people. I need to get some equipment to be able to record the activity that happens there. Even though I don't live there, sometimes I just don't want to go near there because I know what kind of activity is there. But the footage from the video that I put, it's like, it makes me want to go to where I see the portal in that video. I could actually see a portal where it's up towards the trees. It's a round circle. It's pretty big portal where I believe these beings were coming out of. Natives like the shaman, or they got other names where some of them they're like warlocks or witches, and they were practiced all that, sorcery. So, there's a lot of activity like that. That's what I was saying, that story of Elms Grove. In that area where that happened to my chickens, there was a man that was his land, and he had a house there, and he would sell weapons, like antiques. And he was murdered there at his home by some teenagers. His house had gotten, they took it down. The land was still there, but the teenagers had murdered him in that land. When I had gone there, at that time I would take my EVPs to do voice recordings, and of course I would record, and I would catch the phenomenon where the spirit of the man was trying to make contact with me in that area. But also I had a video where I was in the area. You could hear something, and the only thing I got left from that is just the pictures of some of the things that I caught underneath that tree. And the tree's still there. That's why, like the old footage, I wish I would have it, because sometimes you don't want to go back into that area because you know what's there, And when I look at these old videos that I'm posting there, I know the videos is not all that, but you can see that there's something there. I just need to get better equipment. When I do decide to go back to get different footage, you see, like I said before, when my account was permanently deleted, I think that was the goal, was to eliminate anything that I had from that time frame. Luckily, Carlito Castro had told me, "Hey, Abe, you ought to record this." At that time, when he told me to record, I think I might have been sick already with the COVID, and I managed to record one video that caught my eye, that I seen a lot of things happening within the video, and I got to record it a certain way. But that's the only video that remained from all the videos I had from back then and those times. That's the only video I actually got able to download. Right after that is when I started getting sick with the COVID. So when my account had gotten permanently deleted, I had to start from scratch. I had to rebuild. It was like how should I say? It was a targeted. It was targeted directly at me, and I know it was dealing with, because I was bringing the spiritual aspect out of things. A lot of people don't want to hear that. Whether it doesn't matter if the people if they're dealing with Bigfoot, or if they're dealing with aliens, or they're dealing with witches and warlocks, whatever they believe in. I was going to be I was just targeted that way, because a lot of people don't want me to bring the spiritual aspect out of things. But, I still, regardless, I still has been able to do podcasts with people and I still get invited to podcasts. I'm not sure if, I've got a little YouTube. I don't know really how to work the YouTube, but I'm putting little reels right now. So if I do decide to create something bigger than that one day, I will. But, I got targeted, but that's okay, because like I said, I know where the area is. I lived in that area, and I can take you to every location where I experienced something. I could take you, because I was there, it happened to me. I could take you to the location where the man got elevated in the air and he got slammed 3-4 times by the bridge. I could point you exactly where it happened, because I witnessed it. Or I could show you where the story of when I was walking down the street, that highway 90, or business 190, or business 90, where I was walking and I heard pebbles fly behind me. And when I turned around, it was a man that was coming out of the woods running real fast towards me, or he looked like a form of a man. We just leave it at that. And he wouldn't say nothing to me. I asked him for his name. The only thing he ever said to me was Indiana. I could take you to the location. I take you to the exact location of where I seen him standing inside the woods, exactly where they're at. I can take you to the location where I seen them coming through the trees. I can take you to the location where the thing that happened to my chickens, what a story I just told, when I started making this video. I can take you to the location, and you yourself will be able to witness the activity there. And even on the other side of the Elms Grove, by the airport, there's a road. I witnessed something there. I witnessed, this being, I'll say a being, but it reminded me of the days of, when the plague was here. There was plagues where the doctors were dressed all like in long black coats with rubber gloves, and they had the like a mask on with the eyes and the nose to be able to breathe. Well, that's what it reminded me of, what I seen coming out of the airport, out of one of the buildings. He passed right in front of me, and it went into the golf course. That's what I witnessed. In saying that, when they talk about cryptids, if you look into native culture, the medicine doctors, that's how they were dressed. When a person they would form a circle, and when a person was either dying or the person was sick, that's how they were dressed. They were dressed with either a wolf skins or deer. In that form, that's how they were dressed to pray and try to cross somebody over into the spiritual world, or if they're fighting for somebody's life or against a negative energy. That's how they were dressed in that form. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out the pictures where you can see where the dress is. When people talk about the shapeshifter, well, the shaman or the medicine doctors, that's how they were dressed, with the face of a wolf. I believe I have a couple of pictures where they're dressed that way, So are we really seeing creatures like this, or is it actually the spirits of natives that were here before us that were dressed that way, or is it shapeshifters? It's so many ways to see it, but that's how they were dressed, in that nature. That's how they were dressed, in native, they had, every culture, whether it's native, even like in Spanish, you got curanderos, curanderas, that dress a certain way, right? Some of the curanderas, they have the garments, they have necklaces and crosses, and you go into their special room where they do all this works, and they got candles, they got a little altars, and they got holy water, they got all kinds of stuff there where they supposedly do the spiritual works, and that's how they do the works, and then through the spirit, that's one thing about that I witnessed. I mean, I understand if you're going to do spiritual works and get rid of the ailments for somebody, right? Like the medicine women's, of what I see in the culture, what I grew up with, what I was showed, and I could see this negative energies leaving the people's body, right? And I could see them walking out of the little adobe, or should I say, hut. And what to this day, what I never could understand, yeah, she got rid of the negative energies, but she didn't tie, bind, and rebuke those negative energies, you see? And you figure if you're going to do some deeds in that nature, that you should be able to tie, bind, and rebuke it and send it away. But I guess when it's magic versus magic, there's no winner out of that. No matter if it's white magic or black magic, there's no winner going to come out of that aspect. There's no winner. And I've seen the spiritual aspect out of it. The spiritual aspect of the balance of the witchery, the sorceries, some witches, there's some witches that's all they focus on is trying to see how many families they can affect, how many people they can send a witch bat upon, or how many people they could send, the open portals, or do their Satanist stuff and send things to certain people. That's what they do. And that's how they work. That's the works that they do, because that's all they know, or should I say, that's what they want to know. Now, some people don't believe in that, but I'm just here to tell you that it does exist. That things like that do exist, because I've seen it with my own eyes. I just don't. How should I say? I ain't gonna say don't believe it, because I know it exists, but I don't give it power, basically. So I try to stay, should I say, optimistic. Like, if I'm spiritually challenged by a witch or a warlock and they're standing right in front of me and they're looking at me a certain way, I'm looking right back at them without fear, because I know God is with me. So I'm just waiting for them. It's kind of like a standoff, like the Wild West, when you got the good guy and the bad guy, and you're just waiting to see who's going to pull the trigger first, right? Well, in that nature, that's how it is spiritually. It's like a bubble, right, between you and that individual, and it's a spiritual battle. And within the spiritual battle, when the bubble's there, anything can happen, but it's about what you allow to affect you, right? So it could be a witch or a warlock that they say they can do many things, but if I don't believe in them and I'm not giving them power because I'm not afraid of them, so there's nothing that they can try to do to come up against me, because I'm not giving them the power to affect my mind, my body, or my spirit. So I overcome them spiritually by not accepting any negativity coming my way. So it goes back to them, or I'll say the Our Father. I rebuke them and they take off. They don't want to know. They take off because they already know that anything they try to do spiritually, if I'm protected by the Heavenly Father, in which I am, that it's going to go back to them 7 times fold. It doesn't matter who they're affiliated. It doesn't matter how many people they know. They could be 10, 20, 100, 1,000 people. But if I'm being protected by the Heavenly Father, right? I'm talking about this spiritual war. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter what the people of those 1,000 believe in, whether they all believe in the dark arts, or they don't believe in God, they believe in whatever, and they're still involved in it. It doesn't matter, an enemy's going to be your enemy. So if they're in cahoots all together, and I'm being protected, well, that's 7 times fold. Right? 7 times fold, that whatever they're trying to do to come up against me is going to go back to them 7 times fold. And that's not good, especially if there's 1,000 times the 7. That's 7 times, that's 70,000 times fold. If it was 1,000, put it if there was 10 people, that's 70 times fold. That's not good regardless, because if they were wishing bad towards me, it's going to go back to them. And that's how it is sometimes, sometimes when you're going through spiritual warfare in that manner, you run into these tests and obstacles in this way, where you know who the individual is, you know what they're about, because your spiritual gifts of discernment is going to show you what they're about. And you already know ahead of time, because, there's nothing that can be hidden from us, because we know. It just, how should I say, I just go with the flow sometimes with people, just to give them the benefit of the doubt that I'm hoping that maybe one day that they'll change their path or their way, right? But for them not to, how should I say, underestimate how the power of the Heavenly Father is, because He spiritually blesses us with gifts that we know things ahead of time. So I don't wish nothing bad upon nobody, even when somebody's going through something. Even though they might have caused it themselves without even knowing it, or if they knew what they were doing, I don't wish bad upon nobody, because wishing bad about somebody or overjoying something bad happening to to somebody is not good. It's not good at all. It's not good for anybody. So I don't wish bad about nobody. You know, it's just every time that I fought spiritually, and I'm talking about I fought people spiritually in the flesh, which came up against me in a spiritual, threatful manner, and I've overcame them and I'm still here. I've had regular people that might not know that. That's why I don't hold nothing against nobody. That they might not know that they're being used in a negative way against me, but I know because I maintain spiritually. I always maintain the love foundation. I'll talk about how great love is. Well, I'm being 100% real. There's no change in that. I'm not perfect, but I know what the main ingredient is maintaining love foundation always. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. Maybe somebody might get under the skin because they've been messing with me for a long time. So then I said, okay, well, let's see what this individual is about. Let me call out this individual. So I call out an individual, and they don't show up. They don't show up for business, because they have a big mouth or big talk. But when it comes down to handle business, they don't handle the business. But what I'm talking about is spiritually. That I can tell somebody's demeanor, how a person is. Like I said, I don't have nothing against nobody. What I went through or endured, what I've endured throughout my life, that's been my spiritual test, my spiritual abilities. I wish, well, I ain't going to say I wish. I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying that in my lifetime, that the path that I've been going through, it's been a lot of trials and tribulations spiritually, that I've learned a lot of wisdom and knowledge. But I accept that because I know that sometimes some people have to go through a certain path in order to become themselves. So I accepted that. At the same time as I accepted that, I knew that where I stood in that decision making of the path in which I stand with the Heavenly Father. So whoever replaces me, wherever he places me, whether he placed me that evening in the middle of the woods in Elms Grove, he placed me there for a reason. He placed me there because he knew that I have the spiritual ability to be able to overcome the situation. I believe that 100%, and I overcame the situation. Like I said, we all go through things in order for us to understand certain things in life. Cousin Victor said the principalities of life. Well, I've learned from that. And that's why I'm talking about the things that I'm talking. Some people might not agree, but you know what? I challenge those people. I challenge those people that might not agree of what I'm saying. I would tell them, come on over to Elms Grove, right? And check it out for yourself. And then, so you can see that there is something there. Look, just put it this way. If I'm maintaining love foundation, right? And I've been training for a very long time spiritually, since I was a kid all the way to now. What's the odds that if I could survive that, what I went through, that if you get tested the way I got tested, that you're going to survive? Because, like I said, God can only, how should I say, just put it this way, the people that I've seen go in there into this area that did not believe in God, some that were atheists, some that were Wiccan, a person that was barely coming out of combat, coming from war, from the Iraqi war, a person coming from California. They came from California. There was a female that dropped me off, that she got spiritually attacked. The man walking on the bridge, they got spiritually attacked. And I can keep on naming them. And all the other people, many more that lost their lives. I said that other people that lost their lives and lived within the park where I lived, within the same block, there was like 5 or 6 people that lost their lives in there in Elms Grove. That a lot of these people wasn't prepared for that kind of activity. Uh, let's talk about Vic Cundiff's show, right? I know certain individuals don't like Vic Cundiff, but that's their problem. But the person that doesn't like Vic Cundiff, he was part of Vic Cundiff at one time. So I don't know how they can dislike each other. They worked together at one point in time. So I don't think that guy is really that bad of a guy if they work together at one point in time, and they worked together for a while. And many other people worked together that were affiliated with Vic Cundiff, right? The day guy, or should I say, the person that got sent to Elms Grove during the day to investigate during the day that I made contact with. We know who it is, because I've spoken about this. His wife got spiritually attacked by this unseen force. The night guy, they came. He told me himself, come knocking on my door on a Sunday. And he told me, I got to ask you a question. I said, what is that? I don't even know who you are. And he told me his name. He said, how can you be in two places at once? Well, that's impossible, right? I can't be in two places at once. Not unless it's something that has the ability to shape shift and take form to look like me, which would be either something demonic or a shapeshifter of sort, right? Or disembodied Nephilim, demonic, the same thing. They all fall in the same category because it's all dealing with sorcery. Well, that's what he told me, but God rest his soul, he's not here no more. And, like I said, I don't wish bad upon nobody, but when they entered that area, Elms Grove, whatever's there is territorial. Just like the person that was walking on the road that he got spiritually attacked, he had an opening of some sort for it to attack him. And when he attacked him, elevated up in the air and slammed him because it wanted to kill him. That's what I believe. But I was there to save him, to help him, to bring him to safety. Just like I was there for the guy that was a Wiccan, that he was taking him deeper into the woods at nighttime, that I did the sign of the cross, and I went in there and I grabbed him from inside the woods in a different section of the woods where he was pulling them into the darkness, and I pulled him out to safety, and I carried him to the vehicle, and he lost it. He was seeing a lot of things that I would see, and he just lost it. I've seen these people get spiritually attacked. I'm talking about a loss of energy where they have no energy to walk on their own feet, that I had literally carry them out of the woods. That's why I placed the video. And this is daytime. You see, it's day. And it's right there. It's changing color of eyes. Look at the video. It goes from red to yellow to white. It changes several times, the color of the eyes. And that's during the day. Imagine if it has the capability to make the eyes look so bright during the day. Imagine how it's going to look at night. When I told my story, I told them there was some white, bright eyes, some white eyes that I could literally see the white eyes. Well, in the video, during the day, you could see the white eyes. Where they're white, a certain white, and then turn a bright white. And you could see it in the video that I placed there on Spiritual Cryptid Encounters. And it was the only video that I got to save and that was, I think, the best video out of all of them that I actually seen. The activity at that time frame of that video was when I was fighting spiritually, where I could hear whether they run behind me, I could hear whether they're running and they hit me in the back, or I could hear something in front of me growling, and I would just take the photos. And that's why I got a lot of selfie bombs in the video. You see it's right behind me, and you see the eyes change color. And that's why I'm getting some of the pictures. I have that video. A lot of the pictures that I got have been from that video, but some other ones are from other videos that I don't have. But I know that activity is there. That activity is there, and so many. How should I say? So many ways to look at things. But like me, I'm of the works that I do since I was a kid all the way to now. I know about the balance between good and evil. And I'm paramilitary. I'll tell you what, I was an expert in weaponry. You know, I was an expert in any weapon I touched. I was an expert. Doesn't matter. It was a 9mm, the 45, the 16, the M16, the freaking 50 cal, or the tank. I was an expert where I find the target and I hit it. It's a direct kill. You know, it's one shot, one kill. You know, so I know how to fight in that manner also. You know, being paramilitary, the works that I would do in the military as serving my country, I was good at doing my job. You know, that's one thing when you do your job, you know, it's about survival. You know, it's not just about a job. It's about survival. So you want to survive any situation that puts you in, whether you're in the offense or whether you're in the defense. You know, you want to survive. So you're going to try to be the best that you can be of what was being taught to you to overcome any obstacle in a situation. So I know about that. So just like I know about that on you, I know how to eliminate. If something is physical, they're in the flesh, I know how to eliminate something in the flesh, you know, whether it's with a weapon, whether it's with a knife, whether it's with a machete. I have those capabilities to destroy the target, right? But imagine this. When you go hunting for the target, right? You go hunting for it because you get tired of it coming to your house. You go into its territory, camouflage yourself into the environment of where whatever it is coming from, and it don't show itself at all. You go hunt here for 2-3 months, and it don't show itself at all. But when you go to your house, then it wants to show itself when it's coming to your house. But then it's not showing to you itself in the flesh. It's coming to you in spirit. That's when you know that a machete, a 9mm, M16, machine gun, whatever kind of shotgun, whatever kind of weapon you got is not going to be able to do anything to it because it's in spirit form. And that's what I know, that if I would have had my tank and I would have had it on my sight, I wouldn't be able to have it on my sight through the thermal system that we have in the tank. I wouldn't be able to see it on my sight. That's the thing. I would not be able to see it on my sight. The only way I would be able to see it would be through the naked eye. Not on the side. It wouldn't appear. It wouldn't be able to appear in my thermals. Didn't matter how I changed my thermal, it wouldn't be able to appear because it's a spirit form. So, you know, that's the key right there. You know, how can you capture something or fight something that is not showing it's coming at you in spirit form? Or where people want to call it a cloak and dagger, that's fine. But it's coming at you in a way that is kind of invisible. You cannot see it. You cannot see it, but it can make contact with you, you know. Why wouldn't, you know, if it's something that aggressive or that dangerous, right? Whether it has the ability to shapeshift into a werewolf, a Bigfoot, or any other kind of cryptid, or whatever form it wants to take, you know, that it's afraid to show its presence. Why would it be afraid to show its true nature or its presence to me in person, like close up, like real close up? You know, I'm assuming because I will be able to see, just like I've been, you know, like I was telling you before, the spiritual battles that I've been through, I would be able to see what I'm dealing with. And I would most likely, you know, if it was there challenging me spiritually, I will fight it spiritually, and I will tie, bind, and rebuke it and send it away, in which it will go. It will go. Just like when I was saying the Our Father and I acknowledged the Heavenly Father, you know, by saying the Holy One. Even they, whether it was native spirits, shapeshifters, disembodied Nephilim, what do you call them? Tree spirits, There's, what's the other one called? Dealing with the five elements. I can't remember the name on top of my head. Elementals. Even they acknowledged the Heavenly Father. Even they acknowledge the Heavenly Father, because if I'm coming at them in spirit, wherever the case they might be, the Greek gods, which was the fallen angels, the Greek gods, whatever form they want to come at me, Pan or whatever, that I have the ability to rebuke them through Jesus Christ. That's the only way, that I have to place Jesus Christ first. It's not about an I thing. It's about placing Jesus Christ first to be able to do that. But I know that, I learned from my trials and tribulations exactly what to do. But not all people know that. Not all people know that, because I know there's going to be a time that, and I know the bigger picture, what they're trying to do. To a lot of people, they're just trying to get them to believe in them more and more. And sooner or later, there's going to be a day. There's going to be a day that they're going to believe in them so much that all of a sudden, the same thing that happened to me is going to happen to them, in which they're going to be seeing them, and then all of a sudden they're not going to see them no more. And when they don't see them, guess what's going to happen? They're going to come after them spiritually, and they're going to attack them spiritually, just like I was being attacked spiritually in Elms Grove. They were trying to destroy me. Because why? Because they already knew what I believed in, but I gave it an opening, right? So if this for anybody that's any side, it doesn't matter what side it is, whether they believe in elves or fairies or whatever they want to believe in, you're believing in something. But what if you're believing is really demonic, right? Once you give it an authority and believing in whatever you're believing in 100%, they're going to come after you. Just like they came after me. And do you know why they want to come after you? Just like they came after me? I'm going to tell you. It's because what's in here and the opportunity we have to make it up into the kingdom of heaven, right? That's what it's about. It's about our souls. It's about our spirits. So when you give it power by believing in it, and it's going to come after you. It's going to come after you in many ways possible. Some of it's already happened. It's going to make you ill. It's going to come and try to attach itself to you. It's going to make you sick. It's going to make you sick. You might have a blood clot on the leg. You might start getting epilepsy. You might get cancer. You may get anything dealing with pestilence or anything because it wants to destroy you. So it's going to come at you that way because you gave it the opening, right? So it's going to come at you because the opening is there. And the only way you're going to be able to free yourself from it is by closing that belief system, by not giving it power no more. That's the only way that you're going to be able to handle the situation, because you gotta find out what is the opening that you gave it. And then, because it uses openings, when I talk about unforgiveness, when you have hatred, we know people, right? We know people that have hatred towards people. Even though they say that some people are good, but then they say some people are bad. Well, which one is it? We're supposed to all be all equal. We're all supposed to maintain the love foundation, right? Well, an opening of hatred, that could be an opening for it to bum rush you and attack you in all kinds of ways. And a person's not going to realize that might be the opening that might have till it's too late. Till a lot of things happen to them or maybe to their loved ones, it's going to be too late. Why? Because the opening is there, and it's the opening of hatred, anger, vengeance, unforgiveness. That's one of the biggest openings that anybody can give it power over you, over your foundation, right? That's why I don't like to dwell on that. No, I've made some videos where I call out some people, but after that, I'll do a little bit of prayer, ask God for forgiveness, and I'll delete the video because I know it wasn't good. And then I said, why can't I leave that opening? So that's why I delete the video, because I don't want to give that opening, for it to try to find an opening to come my way, because I know how it works. And some people are not going to understand, because I can cuss like a sailor ever wanted to. I used to be prior military. I used to be a bad person, like I'm a bad MF. At the things that I would do, I was out in the front lines, fought the enemy against the Medina Republic Guard. Lives got taken. It was either them or us. So I could consider myself a bad MF. I'm not trying to be a storyteller. I'm not trying to be anything. I'm just being me. I'm just trying to bring the light out of my perspective to people that that there could be openings. That you can allow those things to enter your foundation. And once they enter your foundation, and we've seen it. Brother Carlito, you still here? When Sister B. Moss was making the video with that demonologist. You seen the opening right there, right? Somebody had had an opening for it to be going back and forth from him to her, from him to her. There had to be some kind of spiritual opening for that to happen, and I believe it has to do with the belief system you have to believe, there had to be an opening. It was trying to transfer from one to another because there was an opening, and I think it has to do with power, because they know, the gentleman talking, the demonologist knows, they could have rebuked whatever was affecting that woman making her cut herself. They could have rebuked it. You could have rebuked it. I could have rebuked it out of it. Tell her to leave it alone. Leave her alone. Because we have the spiritual ability to the spiritual gifts of discernment. We don't have to go through a rank structure to do that because we're not Catholic, or I'm not from the Catholic. But I know spiritually we can do it through the name of Jesus Christ. That's one opening, right? That's the opening I see where the man demonizes his spiritual abilities because he says he's got to go through a rank structure. No, you don't have to go through no rank structure to be able to handle business spiritually. Spiritually, you can do it yourself through Jesus Christ. And that's the opening that he had. And he was trying to jump to Sister B. Moss because whatever negativity was there upon that man, something within Sister B attracted him, and it was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's how it works. We've seen it happen in church. In church, we see it happen all the time in church, where there's dark energies or jumping from person to person. There might be the church might be a holy place, there might be people there, but just because it's a holy place, there's some people that they're asking for forgiveness, maybe because of deeds that they've done wrong, and those will be maybe they're forgiving, they're asking for forgiveness, but they're not truly forgiven. So there could be an opening for they get spiritually attacked within the church. It happens, But that's what I see that's what's going to happen to. It might already be happening to a lot of people that we know. That it's got a strong hold over them already. That's why one of the reasons you haven't seen me too much. I try to do most of my works here on spiritual encrypted encounters. I left a lot of sites because I left a lot of groups that I was in because I noticed how they didn't want to. Like I couldn't share a picture, I couldn't share a video, so I just left the groups. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to focus on spiritual encrypted encounters. There's some people that will say, because it's about affiliations, right? You scratch my back, I scratch yours. There's people that are affiliated in that manner. Like, hey, if A posted it, don't post nothing. So I just left them. So I'll focus on here. But I'm just saying how it is, speaking truthfully of what I see. As I'm on the sidelines now, I'll go listen to people's video without, they don't even know I'm there, but I'm just listening without joining I'm just listening to what people are saying, in their videos. And there's a lot of people right now that have spiritual openings because they gave him power to the negativity. Like I said, they don't have to go to Elms Grove to find that out. Wherever they encounter something, you know, there's one thing about an unclean spirit. An unclean spirit, if you give it power and you believe in it, it's going to find you. It's going to find you wherever you're at. It doesn't matter because the opening is already there. So it don't matter if it's Elms Grove. It don't matter if it's Goldman Bridge. It don't matter wherever it's at that you're at. It's going to find you because it's the opening is there, and it's going to come at you. It's going to keep on coming at you till it gets what it wants. You know, that's why I don't believe. You know, I know there's things that exist spiritually that can manifest themselves to look themselves a certain way. That's why I'm placing all these pictures there on my group and sharing it, because that's what I'm seeing. You know, that's what I would see. And I would see a lot of other things that I didn't have the technology to be able to record. For example, when I seen this giant werewolf-like creature, the black one and the brown one, if I would have been able to record that would have been some awesome footage. And I know that there would have been awesome footage, but what if I recorded it and nothing might have not come out? But I'm thinking it would have come out, just like on my video that I posted. It was an old video. I made it short so you could be able to see it where it's changing the color of eyes behind me. Well, just like it's changing the color of eyes behind me, here where I live, on top of my shed, I think I have a video where it was looking at me and it was doing the same thing. It was going from yellow to white. It was changing its color of eyes and it was going up and down on top of my neighbor's shed, like it was messing with me, you know? So my dogs were barking. They were right there. And I just, you know, I was waiting to see what it was going to do because I was ready to tie, bind, and rebuke it in Jesus' name, whatever it was, right? But, you know, going back to the stories of the Elms Grove, that's that kind of activity that's there, you know, kind of like the activity where the cops got a call. There was like 6 squad cars in Elms Grove because a woman complained about a peeping Tom that was looking at her through a restroom through her door, that it was real tall looking. And she, you know, it was so tall that it was looking at her. She said it was looking at through a restroom window, but the window of the restroom was, and the mobile home is the one that's way up on top, way up on top. It was looking at her from up there, from way up on top, right? So there was cops all over the place trying to find this peeping Tom, right? So they're looking at it, trying to find this peeping Tom. Then all of a sudden they found something. So they're flashing it with a high beam the squad cars have. You can see a dark shadow running in between the beam, you know, and they're chasing it with a beam. And there's cops going in their squad cars. There's people on foot. And they're trying to catch this thing that's on foot. It's supposedly on foot, but it's moving so fast that they can barely catch it on the beam of the light. And towards the end, it passes. They had a roadblock at the entrance of the mobile home park, and you can see it come out of the woods. But you see, that wasn't dealing with one of them. That's what happened that day. There was a lot of them because they were being spotted all over the place. So it wasn't one figure or one shadow being. There was a lot of shadow beings. They were being spotted all over through the park. So when the shadow being passed in front of the cops at the blockage in front of the mobile home, they said, "Did you see that?" And the other guy said, "Did you see that?" They said, "Yeah." He said, "Let's not tell the chief about this because he's not going to believe us and he's going to think we're crazy." That's what they said. So they never said nothing to the chief. They didn't even do a report about it. All they said is, "Oh, the suspect ran into the woods. It ran into the woods." That's all they said. "We lost him." They didn't pursue him into the woods or pursue it into the woods. Like I said, that activity exists there. in Elms Grove that is not afraid to show itself to you. And trust me, it knows your thoughts. It knows your thoughts. It knows everything about you. It can mimic voices. Well, when it mimics the voice of people that you know, right, that you might know, it mimics the voices. What can mimic voices? Well, something would be something demonic, right? Or something of the supernatural, demonic, some demonic, like the movie The Exorcist, where they say that it's something demonic. That people say that the movie wasn't real, that the guy, but when somebody's demonic, they can mimic voices, talk a different language. Shapeshifters, since they're part of the sorcery thing, they have the abilities to mimic voices, but they know you, they know what's in your mind. If you have an opening, right, that's the way they're going to know these things about you, because they're able to go into your body and get the information they need to be able to mimic the voices, to be able, he's going to know your darkest fear, right? So he can use that against you to come against you spiritually, right? I mean, shoot, I think I heard a video where somebody said they seen a praying mantis. And I'm like, well, maybe their fear is a praying mantis, just like when somebody says that they fear spiders or they fear snakes. They might fear lizards, you got reptilians, you got different things that might fear, right? That he can use that to come up against them. He uses, I remember when I was a kid, I was in my backyard playing, right? And I hear somebody calling my name. I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I hear somebody calling me, talking to me, and I'm looking and I can't see nothing. And then I see there's a tree, a log on the ground, right? As I'm looking at the log, what's on top of the log caught my eye the most, which was a giant black cricket. He was huge. I say he was like pretty big. The cricket was talking to me. And as it was talking to me, I heard my grandmother say, "Don't listen to it." I just heard my grandmother's voice said, "Don't listen to it. It's a devil." And when she said that, it just disappeared. Like a puff of smoke happened. And the only thing you could see is the smell of the smoke and the sulfur, smell like sulfur. So they have the capability to mimic anything. And imagine I ran into this cricket that could talk. So it could make a cricket talk because it's mimicking a form, and it's talking through it. It's got those capabilities. But yes, one day I will go there to Elms Grove. I want to go there with a proper equipment, to be able to record better, to get better footage of the area. I want to record because there's several locations besides where I had my encounter where there's a lot of activity that was happening, which is the one where my roosters got killed. It's another section that's there underneath this big old tree. And then there's an open field where there's a pond where I ran into the den of dead animals. There was a den out there in the open field of dead animals. There was a Saint Bernard, or it shows that Doberman. Was it a Doberman? No, it's Saint Bernard. Saint Bernard is it though? Or is it Doberman? No, Saint Bernard. Its spine was ripped off its back. And it was like a fresh kill. His spine was like literally ripped out of the back of this Saint Bernard. So whatever killed it, I do not know. But in that den, me and my son ran into it. And he remembers that den. There was nothing but dead animals there. And you could see just the furs left behind of the dead animals, because the bodies had already gotten, I guess, decomposed. So what was left was just nothing but bones and the furs of the animals. There was different animals there. There was cats, there was dogs, and I believe there was a couple of possums. It was like different animals in that location. But it's a different field. And in that field, I believe I've seen something with a cross out there somewhere, but that's where some of the two strippers had gotten killed, and they were buried out there in that location also. But yeah, there's a lot of activity there in Elms Grove. I heard I got in contact with by this friend of mine. Well, this friend of mine, he told me about how he had a soldier there when he heard my story. Well, on the Travel Channel on This Woods Are Haunted, he said that he had a soldier that lived there in that location, and he was freaking out with my story because he said that his soldier, he was fixing to get out of the military, and he lived on the other side of the park, on the other side of the mobile home park. He said he had to go pick him up and drop him off because he was afraid to drive, and he would ask him, what's the matter? And he said, in Spanish, aquí espantan. Aquí espantan, which means they spook here or it's haunted. And he said that his soldier, he was already like a high-ranking NCO, you know. He told him that he could hear scratches on his walls. You hear people talking outside. You hear children around his mobile home and banging around his walls, and he was scared. He was scared of. He couldn't sleep right at nighttime because he was being spiritually attacked in that manner. And he could, when he heard my story of what I was talking about, of what I experienced, he could relate to that because of his soldier, what his soldier told him, what happened to him there in Elms Grove, because he just lived on the other side of the park. And I've been getting in contact with a lot of people that they've told me stories. There's one that I made a contact with where they said they had an encounter with a familiar creature like that is on my picture at the lake here in Belton Lake at their property. That that it was a female. She showed me. I got a picture of it where she's seen it in the woods, and you can see something looking at her through the woods. That seems like the same one that is in my picture, and numerous other people that have gotten reports of things that happened to him. There was this gentleman that contacted me where he says that where he lives is not far away from me. It's like maybe further say like 10 to 15 miles away from me. But in the location where he lives, he's surrounded by two high ridges. And he says that he's been getting activity of coyotes coming to the wood line, to the ridges near their houses, and they could hear them making all kinds of noise at nighttime. And you know how they say that when you see that kind of activity, that not too far away from there could possibly be a dogman, right? Or maybe possibly a shapeshifter. But there's a lot of the activity happening. He wants me to go to his area, to where he's going, where the things are happening. I've seen it on the map. He sent me coordinates to his location. I just need to get in contact with me to see when he wants to do this, you know. But, you know, like as for me, I just have to be cautious because I know that activity is not just in Elms Grove, but it's all around in that town, in that city. Because all that used to be native land at one time. You know, before it became Fort Hood, it was already native land. So I believe that's why there's so much activity there. We had ran into one when we were going to a wedding through our back road in Harker Heights. And we're going to go to my wife's cousin's wedding. And it looked brown, and he had a white face. It crossed right in front of the road, in front of her vehicle. It was like an adolescent, a baby one, but he was running on all fours, and I'm like, man, I've seen coyote, you know, that's not coyote, and I said, that's the wolf. What? I said, like, what the hell is that? How is he going to be brown, have a brown fur, and a white face? You know, he literally had a white face whatever it was. And it's like, is that it had like it looked like a bear, but because a dog, you could see the how a dog would look. This didn't look like no dog. The body looked different than a coyote, because the coyotes here in Texas, they're kind of skinny. So I don't know what it was that day that passed in front of our vehicle. And I wanted to stop just to see where it went to, but it was moving pretty fast. So I said, you know what, let's go. Then right after that is when the gentleman contacted me about the activity that was happening where he lives. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of activity, a lot of things. Just gotta be. That's why I've been taking it easy, playing it low. Because I'm trying to think what my next step is going to be. Like I said, I lost my cousin Victor. He passed away from COVID, like a week ago. His burial is on this weekend, Friday and Saturday, but it's in Colorado, and I don't want to risk it going all the way over there and getting sick. So I'm just gonna stay here in Texas, and that's why I've just been doing this work, been playing it low. So I got so much knowledge, man, so much knowledge on how to track these things that are there. But if it's something dealing with the spirit, I mean, how you can track something that's invisible or that's a spirit? I mean, you can use yourself or somebody as bait, but it might show itself to be able to capture a picture or something, but to actually capture something, the one that was closest to me, I say I could have reached out and grabbed it, or he could have reached out and grabbed me, but nobody reached out. I didn't reach out. He didn't reach out. And there was numerous times, even when I ran into the baby one underneath that, when I would dress up on camouflage and I was trying to see what was it that lured my son into the woods. I mean, the baby one that I seen, he had a lot of teeth. I might have a picture of it. I have a picture of something that looks like it has a lot of teeth. I haven't posted it yet, but I'm going to work on it. But the one I seen was real small. It was like a baby, and he had a lot of teeth, and it made this weird freaking yell, It made this weird yell, and I could see all the teeth that he had, and he was making this squealing sound, and it was standing up on twos, So he looked at me, and I had my machete in my hand, and I was like, man, I could hit it on the head. I could have literally hit it on the head if I wanted to and killed it. But something told me within myself, just let it be, let it be. I started thinking about what if it is something real, right? And I kill it, then it's gonna, whatever parents it is, if they do exist, then it's gonna target me and come after me because it's gonna know my scent, right? Because I was there. So I didn't do nothing. I put up my machete and I left the bushes. It was a tree, actually. It was a couple of trees. It was near the street. So I walked away from it, and I was just thinking about it. It's like, as I walked away from it, is when I heard an accident on the freeway. So I started cutting through the woods, right? Because I was walked away from it. So I was cutting through the woods to go see what happened on the highway. And when I cut through the woods, I seen it. I seen something massive, huge, man. It was huge. It had to be, man, it was wider than the path that I was on. And it was coming my way. I guess it was going to where the little one was squealing. And we crossed path. I bumped into it. It bumped into me. But what was weird is it wasn't really like a bump. It was more like it went through me. It went through me, like through my body. Part of it went through my body. That's how massive it was. It covered the whole path. and it was real tall. I guess it was going to assist the little one. So I looked, and I seen there was an accident in the corner. So I didn't walk back down into the tree line. I went down on the road, and I cut through the street. As I was cutting through the street, I started feeling weird. I wasn't feeling myself. Like, I guess when I brushed against it, it tried to spiritually attack me. So as I was walking, I started feeling weird. So I didn't go home directly to the house. I went straight to the park, and I sat down on the picnic table, and I could feel the negativity of whatever brushed against me. So I started praying against it, and I called upon the Heavenly Father and all this, and I felt better. But ever since that day, I put up all my gear, my machetes, the equipment I will put on to go hunting for whatever lured my son into the woods. I put all that up in a bag, and I stopped doing that. That's when I knew that whatever it was something of spirit. So, and a lot of the photos that I have after that is just me with a walking stick. With a walking stick. The reason I had to use a walking stick is because it kept on hitting me. When it went invisible on me, it kept on hitting me and knocking me down. Like, I could hear footsteps, boom, I go flying 4 or 5 feet. So I would use that walking stick, and I started getting good with a walking stick. I used that as a weapon, in which when I would hear footsteps around me, coming running from behind me, I would spin with a stick. It was a long stick. It was like, it was pretty long, and I would spin and I would whip the stick to see if I can make contact with something, but then the footsteps would stop, and I'll be ready to fight spiritually. That's when I started fighting spiritually, instead of trying to come at it in a physical way. Like I said before, I know how to take out a threat, something in the physical. I know how to take it out. Well, at the same time, the only way I was able to overcome it was spiritually. That's how I overcame it. And Sister, I think there's my member, Sister Dawn, knows of the things that I've been through there. Sister Dawn was one of my members from Positive Spiritualists. She was an admin there, but she's seen the things that I've been through. There's other people that seen the things that I was going through in Elms Grove, like Sister Aska. She's seen some of the things that I was going through, and a lot of other people. I'm just glad that I was able to overcome it spiritually. And when I make these videos, like I said, I have nothing against nobody. I just make these videos for people to understand that if it was something of a target, I could eliminate it, but it turned out to be something more different than a target. It became more of a, how should I say, a spiritual thing, where it can't even be a target, but you can hit it. The only way you're going to be able to fight something that in that manner is spiritually. And that's how I overcame it and got out of there. Got out of the area. When I went there, I'm telling you, it was still there. He was looking at me, and I seen it. Yeah, I wish I could have had, when I looked, I wish I had a body cam on me, or a camera up here. So when I looked, you would be able to see it when he was looking at me from behind the tree. And he was tall. He was pretty tall, 12 foot 13. I could see the head peek around the tree. And that one had red in the face. And he was looking at me. He just went like this. He was looking at me like that from on top of the tree. That's how tall they are. And I was looking at it, and then it stuck his head back behind the tree. But he was looking directly at me. That's when I was going to leave the park, Elms Grove. It's like it recognized me. But it got that close to me. It got very close to me. I guess it was like two trees away from me. But anyways. Yeah, check out the video. If somebody's got the technology to be able to assist me and debunk it even better, that would be awesome. I'm trying to get as close as possible to how it's what I want to catch is the changing of the color of the eyes. That's how it's changing the color from red, and then went to yellow, and then went to white. Where he's looking at me, where he's standing behind me. He just, to be able to have the right equipment, to be able to debug that video even better would be awesome. But you can see it right behind me on that video. But anyways, yeah, I got a lot of things going on. What I'm trying to do is just, like my cousin Victor passed away. They're burying him this week. Making this video right now. I want to do things, but certain things are happening that it just keeps me from doing things. But I know there's a couple of guys from nearby. The guy that lives in Killeen, he wants me to take him to the area, and he wants me to go to his area. So we'll see what happens. If we do decide to do something, maybe get in contact with me, or I'll get in contact with him, and see if he has some equipment or something. We might go live from those areas where the things are happening, see what we catch on the camera. I don't know yet, but we'll see. But thank you all for just being here, listening to me talk away. But I'm going to continue to work on the images and the videos. Like I said, I have one where it looks like the little one that I seen underneath that tree that night. Because the only thing I could see, because it was dark, I was in stealth mode. And the only thing I could see was the teeth when they make that weird noise. It was like a, how should I say? It was not like a growling sound. It's like it was trying to growl, but it was more of a squealing sound, and he had a lot of teeth, a lot of little sharp teeth, So it was weird that day when I was in stealth mode, just to see if I could see it. I will hide in between the trees just to see. Sometimes you gotta think like the enemy, right? You gotta think like the enemy. So I knew that they were hiding by trees. So listen, well, maybe if I sit still by a tree and not move, maybe I'll run into something. Well, I ran into a little one, and then I ran into a big one. But then I just stopped doing that completely, But anyways. Yes, that's one thing I've always used is I've always trusted my instinct throughout my life, My instinct's been pretty good. I just did it's like all throughout my life it's been like this. It's been a spiritual challenge, spiritual battle all throughout my life. It's not one thing, it's another. Me and my cousin Victor were praying for people and doing all kinds of works, and all of a sudden his wife got sick. She had COVID. And then, he said to keep in prayer. We're praying for her. Me and him were praying for her. And then all of a sudden he gets sick from COVID, and she survives and he didn't survive, So we were helping each other out spiritually. Yes. Yeah. It's like he was seeing exactly what I was trying to do, because what he was doing is going through scripture. He talks in the scripture. I have a video that I'm going to send it to you, Brother Carlito, so you can check out the video where he's talking about the creatures. He's talking about the Bigfoots. He's talking about this dog man. He's talking about the creatures that the people are seeing, which they were part of. Some of them were part of the, what did he call them? The serpent seed, and then some of them were from the serpent seed from the lineage of Cain, right? And then the other ones was dealing with the washers and the Sabbath and Nephilim. But he's dealing with that from the beginning of time. So I had a video, maybe I'll send it to you through Messenger just so you can check it out, man. And you with the things that he's saying, and he's getting it from the Bible and from the book of Enoch, where it talks about this what people call cryptids, right? Well, they're there, but their root connection is dealing with the washers, the Sabbath and Nephilim. The serpent seed, which is a Cain, with what happened between Abel and Cain. Well, he's dealing with that. But maybe one day, I'll send you that if you're interested. But anyways, thank you. Thank you all for joining. Y'all have a beautiful, blessed evening. God bless every single one of you. And peace out.